In the world of prepared citizens, the first thing we usually think of are firearms, ammunition, food, water, and getting off grid. If we're further along in our preparedness journey, we may have night vision, thermal optics, radio communications, bug-out vehicles, and long-term sustainment systems. Let's face it, guns, night vision, thermals, and bug-out vehicles are the most fun, so that's where we tend to spend most of our time and money. Comparatively, we tend to pay a lot less attention to medical preparedness. Sure, most of us have some tourniquets, quick clot, a few IFAKs lying around, but IFAKs and the concept of a blowout kit all tend to assume that we'll have access to tertiary hospital care within an hour of the injury taking place. In a potential scenario, the helicopters in the distance might be gunships coming to take you out rather than a life flight coming to take you home. Although many Americans think a Mad Max societal collapse is unlikely, in recent years, we've also already seen the authorities attempt to limit hospital access based on what we'll call private medical decisions.
For unvaccinated, we are looking at a winter of severe illness and death.
Given that, we might well reach a point where we need to make our own off-grid medical system using scavenged, surplus, or cast-off equipment. It's time we get more serious about our medical equipment as prepared citizens. Today, we're going to kick this off by hacking an expired AED that are commonly recycled or even thrown away once they're no longer in service. AED stands for Automated External Defibrillator, and it's the machine that shocks you to restart your heart after a traumatic event. This video may give you some hints as to my day job, which we won't get into exactly. Also, no, I didn't take the Luciferian mark of compliance either. Suffice it to say, though, this item was simply abandoned at no stated value. Sidebar, it pays to make friends with doctors, nurses, medics, firefighters, and even veterinarians. Even non-medical institutions like schools and large office buildings are starting to be required to have an AED on site because people with only basic CPR and AED training could, in theory, bring someone back from the dead. Disclaimer, this video is not medical advice and is for entertainment purposes only. Only trained medical professionals should use an AED. All expired AEDs must be discarded in a safe manner. AEDs produce high-voltage electricity that may cause serious injury or death if improperly used. Don't try this at home. This video is all hypothetical role-playing in the fantasy scenario of a societal collapse. Whatever, let's get into it. When I got this AED unit, a HeartSign 300C, the battery pack and pads were both expired. The unit would not power up properly, and the proprietary replacement packs were no longer in production. But even though the battery packs were said to be proprietary, what I found when I disassembled the unit was that the so-called proprietary pack was nothing more than 6 3-volt CR123s ganged together in series. Note that CR123s can be 3 or 3.7 volts, so if you mix that up, your voltage may be off when you reassemble it. Disassembling the HeartSign 300C was fairly simple. Remove the cartridge that houses the battery and pads, gently pry off the cover that shields the battery pack, breaking the super glue that holds it in place. Be careful when prying if you're using a metal device. The battery pack below could be damaged, punctured, or short-circuited by your tools, resulting in electric shock. Gently pry out the proprietary battery pack. Remove the black shielding on the pack. Carefully study the routing of the wires. Make a new battery pack of the same amperage and voltage, wired in the same way. In this case, you probably want to have a really good understanding of how basic electrical circuits work, the difference between a series circuit and a parallel circuit. You can look that stuff up online or watch a video on how to make your own battery packs, etc. In this case, the batteries are wired in series, not parallel, so be very careful with that. Reassemble the unit, connecting the positive and the negative wires correctly. And last of all, test your new AED on the new guy. Real talk, don't do that. In closing, an AED unit can literally save someone's life in an emergency, whether or not the entire world burns down. These devices can be quite expensive when purchased new, so the ability to take one that's been thrown away by an institution and refurb it for the cost of 6 CR123s and basic wiring is worthwhile. Medical equipment and people who know how to run it could be worth more than a 9th AR build in many possible scenarios, so keep that in mind. The enemy has only come to kill, steal, and destroy, but Jesus offers life abundantly to all who follow him. Thank you.
Pull green tab to remove pads.